Welcome, everybody, to our Ayurvedic talk. We're going to talk today about Pitta symptom. Summertime, Pitta symptoms start to creep up. So, I am, just so you know, I am an Ayurvedic health practitioner. I've been practicing Ayurveda for about 15 years. And I like to give these talks to just kind of help people have an idea of, oh, how can I kind of deal with that? I do recommend that you always come in and get a consultation. You're going to get the best results if you do that. But we're going to talk about the Pitta symptom of heartburn. And heartburn can creep up when we're dealing with hot temperatures outside. And then a lot of those individuals who like those spicy foods, they tend to never slow down. I was just telling my son the other day because he had a little accident at work where a Pitta symptom rose up, and he was like, oh my God, Mom, like rashes and heat and all this stuff can happen. And it's really uncomfortable. So rashes and pressure and irritation and heat can show up as high blood pressure. But we're going to talk about heartburn today. And it's also called hyperacidity. But I just want you to know Pitta, the heat element, is not the only cause of heartburn. There are some other causes. There are causes like eating too fast. If you eat too fast, it can cause heartburn. Another thing that can cause heartburn is if you eat too late. So how you eat can also cause some of these issues with heartburn. So if you eat too late, if you have alcohol, all of that can cause heartburn. Especially some alcohols are worse than others. So the more hard liquor and wines tend to be a little bit more intense for heartburn. Okay, so excess gastric juices is hyperacidity and can cause heartburn. And you'll kind of start knowing that it's happening because you get a certain taste in your mouth, like a sour taste or an acidic taste. So that's kind of letting you know that, all right, I'm starting to get this taste in my mouth, which is letting you know, okay, we're heading towards heartburn, hyperacidity. So if we're looking at some of the other causes of heartburn, like some of the other elements can cause heartburn. So let's just talk about that really quick, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Pitta, the heat element, because the heat element is typically the element that is going to cause heartburn the most. But air and ether, vata, can also cause heartburn, and that can be because what happens with vata individuals is they have what's called variable digestion. Sometimes the digestion's strong, sometimes it's weak. And it teeters back and forth to having a strong digestion, not strong digestion, strong digestion, not strong digestion. Well, what this does is it causes a buildup of what we call ama, which is toxicity. So toxins start to build in the digestive tract because there's weak digestion and it just is flip-flopping. And so that's what vata does, right? Remember, air and ether, there's a lot of movement involved. So anytime something is variable up and down, you're looking at vata. It's a vata cause. So vata will have that variable digestion. They can't always digest the food. So then that converts into toxins and it develops this undigested food. And when it's undigested, it ferments. And that is what will cause the heartburn or the hyperacidity when you're dealing with vata as a cause. So it ferments and then it causes a burning sensation. So it's the weak digestion. Remember, everything always boils down to digestion. So you're looking at weak digestion, it's going to cause Food did not get digested properly. Okay, it's Vata causes. Now, we'll just briefly talk about Pitta here in this one source that I'm using, and then we'll go back and look at some other Pitta stuff. But Pitta is eating too much hot, spicy, pungent, sour. That includes yogurt, okay, sauerkraut, all of that stuff. You can't have it when you're a Pitta person, especially if you are prone towards hyperacidity, okay? Greasy foods also contribute to that heartburn, the hyperacidity, and certain spices, the spices that are hot, pungent, okay? Onions, garlic, red pepper. So all of your nightshades, those are nightshades, eggplant, can't have them. They contribute to the hyperacidity. Also, incompatible foods. That means that you're combining, your food combining is, and we don't really pay attention to this in the West, but food combining matters because it can also cause digestive imbalances. So incompatible foods, alcohol, like I said, overeating. You're eating too much. Overeating, and also eating too fast, right? That's going to cause overeating. If you eat too fast, typically it will lead to overeating. Other causes are too many sweets. So you're having too many sweets, and they will ferment. So the sweet will ferment and produce acid in the stomach. Okay, so that's Pitta. Let's look at Kapha. Kapha is water element and earth element. And typically, the typical digestive problem with Kapha is sluggish digestion. Weak, sluggish digestion. Remember, water and earth are dense. They have a hard time. Things don't move very quickly for them. So everything moves slower when there's a Kapha imbalance. There's more stagnation. There's more sluggishness in general, usually relating to everything that person's dealing with. So weak digestion allows toxins to build and develop, and then the food isn't digested properly, and then the toxins ferment and once again cause a burning sensation. All right, so some of the symptoms: the burning, belching, sour taste, and also nausea, and for some people, vomiting. So those are some of the things that can happen. All right, let's switch over to talking a little bit more about hyperacidity and heartburn. Acid in your stomach. So typically in the West, we take pills so that we could just eat whatever we want. You really want to not do that, because you will actually push this imbalance further into your system and into other tissues. So we really want to get to the root cause of, why am I dealing with heartburn? And so really pay attention to, if you're having it and you're getting into the habit of taking an antacid type of medication, something like Tums. I know people that live on those things, and they need to get to the root cause. They're just really band-aiding the problem, and they're going to end up having much more serious problems like IBS. And I already have a few people that are dealing with that. So one of the things that you can do to help with heartburn is to get aloe vera gel. And you could take 2 tablespoons of aloe vera gel and a pinch of baking soda. So you combine them, and this will have an immediate soothing effect. Also, effervescence. I know when I was growing up, my dad used to have heartburn almost every day from stress. Stress can cause heartburn. And he would do the pop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. He would do the Alka-Seltzer every day, every day. But you can do an effervescence, a natural effervescence, all on your own with a cup of water. And you add 10 drops of lime juice, a half a teaspoon of organic sugar, cane sugar, and then a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And then you combine that, but you put the baking soda in last. Make sure you do that because you know baking soda is very active. And then you drink that, and it will neutralize the heartburn. Okay, papaya juice also works. You want to have a pitta pacifying diet. Okay, if you're dealing with a vata cause of this heartburn, then you are going to want to look at things like Beano, or the Ayurvedic version of Beano is Hing Swastika. Okay, you could just say Hing, Hing. You can find it. It's all over the place. Rock salt, and then you can do, like I said, the natural effervescence. And I use Avipatakar, which is a traditional formulation, and I mix it with ghee. And I put it on a teaspoon and make it into a paste. And that is what I usually give to people when they're dealing with heartburn. It's instant. It will instantly get rid of it. It's amazing. Okay, fennel is also helpful, so you could do fennel. Pitta reducing foods and herbs. So for that Pitta individual, you want antacid type foods. So what are those foods that are going to help calm down the heat? Milk and ghee. Ghee, you guys, it is so healing. Ghee, aloe vera, and ghee. Okay, acidic and sour foods absolutely need to be avoided. And that includes bananas, because bananas actually, after they are digested, they become sour. I did not know that until I did Ayurveda. Stay away from anything that's been pickled, wine, yogurt. It's also very good to include herbs like shatavari, licorice, aloe vera gel, like I said. And then other type of shell type herbs are beneficial. Again, Avipatakar is the go-to. That's what I use the most. For a kapha individual dealing with the earth and water that's causing that heartburn imbalance, you're going to also want to do the hing, the rock salt. You can do the natural antacid, and some of the shell herbs also beneficial. And the Avipatakar works great for them. So Avipatakar, you guys, it's a Ayurvedic traditional formulation, and it works for all the doshas. It's a go-to. The only person that I do not mix the ghee with is the kapha individual. But for vata and pitta, I definitely mix the Avipatakar with ghee, and then I give it to them. All right. Now, those are basically the heartburn issues, and that is what you're going to want to do for Ayurveda, as far as Ayurveda supporting you with heartburn. But you really need that Pitta reducing diet. If you don't know what it is, please reach out to me. I will email it to you. It's fine. I will do that. I want to support everyone. Okay, so if you have any questions, reach out to me. That's just a little bit of information about heartburn and hyperacidity. And we're in summer, so those types of symptoms might start creeping up.